You're listening to a Comics XF podcast.
X-Men. Get it!
Hey everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Battle of the Atom. This is your weekly X-Men podcast where we rank every story from A to Z.
I'm Adam.
And I am the bad boy of X-Men podcasting. I was once stopped on a street corner in Hell's Kitchen by Marvel editor-in-chief C.B. Cebulski, who told me I was a special boy. And I'm a werewolf. You remember hearing about it. You explicitly weren't there. You left Earth.
I was not there. It happened after I left.
All I'm saying is CB Cebulski did not call you a special boy.
No, I've met CB before. He
didn't call you a special boy.
He did look at trading cards that I made for the Bish and Jubes Kickstarter and thought they were pretty neat. That was about the extent of our interaction.
They were pretty neat. I'm also a werewolf wearing Zach's skin. I'm Zach. I didn't get to my name, Adam. Hey, speaking of CB Cebulski, I don't know if you heard the news.
Oh, there's news. CB news.
There is CB news, and it's not great. He was recently diagnosed. I don't know if you heard this.
Oh, with what?
He was diagnosed with the vapors.
The vapor?
Yeah, the vapors. It's terrible. He's turning Japanese.
Oh,
I did it! A joke about a 1980s song right here at the start.
It's so funny that you said that because I was actually talking to Anna last night about how much it would cost to
Dr. Anna Papard, your friend,
Dr. Anna Papard, to rent to pay for the royalties for like 10 seconds of that song for this episode, and
we could at least play the riff that feels racist, but has generally just been subsumed. Like it started out as, no, this isn't really like an Oriental area thing. But then everyone was like, okay, but yeah, it's not doing any harm. And this is just like, this is what everyone associates with it. So it's shorthand and that's public domain.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
that's just like, I could play that on guitar right now. It's very easy.
That's true. That's true. We probably could just sing it and we'd be okay. But we are talking about the oeuvre of Marvel's editor-in-chief since 2017. That's the one, the only Akira Yoshida.
Chester Boris Cebulski.
That's correct. And was this a Patreon request? How did we end up on this? This was something.
You know how sometimes we have the you pick'ems where our fans pick things, and sometimes we have the Adam pick-sums. And there are episodes where we talk about like good comics normally.
Yeah.
Well, we have Zach pick'ems as well. Sometimes Zach picks them. And sometimes Zach's having a bad day and was like, what would be a funny thing for me to dedicate my week to thinking about? And I unilaterally decided and then ran it by Adam, who laughed and said, okay, that this week I'm thinking about the work of Akira Yoshida, which I do believe if you translated that into English, it translates, and I may be mistaken, so bear with me. Star Wars Jones. I understand that both Akira and Yoshida are real Japanese names.
They are.
But look, if it sounds like the first thing that somebody on an internet forum in early 2000s would pick as their fake Japanese name, then it probably wasn't a deep researched cultural thing. It's like, no, this is the name I will take for this culture, to honor this culture. It probably was, man, I do love Akira and I do love Marvel Comics. And who's the most prominent Japanese family? The Yoshida clan.
Yeah.
Look, for folks who don't know,
Adam, we should explain.
I like to assume most people know, but it was nearly a decade ago that this was all made public, and the events we're talking about were 20 years ago.
Yeah, so for people who don't know, CB Cebulski got into a situation where in the early aughts,
Hold on, got into a situation.
No. Wait, just hear.
I'm listening.
Let me
I'm
finish
listening.
the sentence.
I'm listening.
He got
I'm
into a
listening.
situation-
I'm listening. I'm
He
listening.
got into a situation in the early aughts where he was an associate editor for Marvel. And because of this, he was not allowed to write for Marvel, which he wanted to do simultaneously.
I want to pause right here. There's a very specific reason, because this was a new rule. If you think back, and we cover this on our podcast so much that it doesn't even click. If you think back to especially the 80s, but it had been going on literally since the dawn of Marvel Comics,
Yeah.
talent, specifically writing talent, was often pulled from the editorial pool. Fabian Nicieza, for example,
Sure.
Louise Simonson, Annie
Jim Shooter.
Nesenti. Like, a lot of folks who were on payroll were moonlighting as writers. In one of the challenges that Joe Quesada and Bill Jemas, I would say, one of the unambiguously right decisions that they made when they came in was to say, oh, we're not doing that anymore because it creates a huge conflict of interest. If you're hiring your friend for a project and then they're hiring you for a project, well, this is not making decisions for the best of the company or the book. It is making decisions to line your own pocketbooks.
Yes.
So the rule's there for an unambiguously reasonable and good thing, but it was a new rule.
So what CB did to skirt this was this rule was he created a pseudonym of a not just a pseudonym. This is really important because sometimes it's described as a pseudonym, right? But he literally pretended to be a Japanese man named Akira Yoshida, who
with
then
multiple interviews and a fake history.
Yes, got a couple gigs doing some smaller stuff. Did a Dark Horse assignment. There's another
Conan book, a Hellboy short story.
Yeah,
claims that he was going to be doing a Darkstalkers comic book,
and
which never came out. Who knows?
And then in the years 2005, 2004, and 2005, he does a series of Marvel books, including Thor, Son of Asgard, X-Men Age of Apocalypse, and some of the stuff that we will be talking about in today's episode. And
I want to point out one additional piece of thing there.
Yeah.
Just to point out, all of those books, well, the first books that he got hired on were written or were edited by someone that CB Cebulski edited books with. He edited Runaways and NYX with his editor on Thor, Son of Asgard, for example, and a few others. Others are people like Nick Lowe, who he's close friends with and has worked with for 20 plus years and is friends with today. I'm not pointing blame. I'm just laying out what had happened. Those are the people that were directly managing the talent here.
And it got to the point where other Marvel staffers were either consciously or unconsciously lying about the veracity of who Akira Yoshida was, to the point where you had somebody like editor Mike Martz claiming that he had lunch with Akira Yoshida. Turned out it was a Japanese translator who was not Akira Yoshida. So what was that all about? And
honestly, the one thing, I don't know if Mike Morris was lying or not, because again, he was the group editor on those books. So one level removed. It is very funny to me that he just assumed that this guy was Akira Yoshida or is completely lying about it. But I err on the side of things that make me laugh.
Yes. So over the years, this has been, kind of a well-known secret, quote unquote, but it wasn't until
he essentially takes a 1-year sabbatical from Marvel, does a lot of his own stuff freelance, and then comes back to Marvel as their talent guy. That eventually leads to his EIC role.
Well, and that's important to note, because one of the reasons that CB fails upwards into the EIC role is because, for the most part, despite him doing this terrible thing, everybody loves him. He's a
Very
huge
good with
talent.
talent.
He's a huge talent, international talent scout. He, brings a lot of people in to the offices, et cetera, et cetera. So you have people that obviously got their career started at Marvel because of him and don't, either because they do like him or because they don't want to trash talk the person that started their career in comics. They don't want to, upset the water. So what's wild is that it wasn't until he was named EIC and did an interview with of all people, Rich Johnson from Bleeding Cool, that he finally admits to it.
Well,
And
he admits to it because it had pretty much, when he got the EIC role, it went from well-known secret within the, like, those in the know in comics to a
yes,
couple of people being like, yeah, this guy? Are we serious?
right.
Like,
We're
a couple of people just said, come on, man.
yeah, there was some backlash to this appropriately. And I want to say, because I had thought, I was talking about this with some of our CXF friends this week. I had thought, because I had read most of the interviews that had come out around this time, that CB had not apologized. He had kind of made statements acknowledging it and had said, well, I just hope we can move on, that kind of like mealy mouthed kind of thing. I did find an Atlantic article called The Secret Identity of Marvel Comics Editor, where CB does apologize, but only in response to asking the writer of this article, who I believe is Asher Elbine, asking for a comment. And in this, he does say that he is truly sorry for the quote unquote pain, anger, and disappointment I caused over my poor choice of pseudonym. He's still referring to it as a pseudonym here, as opposed to actually pretending to be an actual Japanese person. And that to me is the difference between it being a pseudonym and being him trying to convince people that he was this completely different person. That's not what a pseudonym necessarily
Well,
is.
and I think what's the most important thing, and this is really what ties into the episode, is that when we're gonna read these comics, you're gonna get the, oh, this is why it was weird, because all of his comics are very much about Japan and ninjas and all of this stuff, where having a guy who in the fiction that was in the kayfabe that was presented to all of us was a Japanese manga guy.
Right.
That's what it was. It's like, okay, so we can believe this. When instead it was a guy who, to be fair, spent time in Japan, learned Japanese, like was a translator, like has done a lot of work in that area. Essentially saying, well, no, that is the same as something that's actually authentic. And that's where it comes off as pretty wild to me. I would say I'm not pro. As much as he's called me a special boy that one time, I am not pro CB Sapolsky. And it doesn't even have to be for the Akira Yoshida stuff. It's just that I've read comics in the last 8 years.
Or this week, including these 3 stories, which we are going to check out. And, just to kind of come back to what you were just talking about before we get into them, one of the things that Marvel liked about having this person was that they were trying to tap into an Eastern market. They were trying to.
I don't even know if it was tapping into that market as much as it was. You weren't in junior high in the year 2005, Adam. So I don't know if you. Actually, I wasn't either. I was in high school by 2005. But I don't know if you remember how much in the zeitgeist anime stuff was.
Yeah.
Japan was huge.
Yeah, but the irony of this is that Marvel thinks that they've got somebody who's so exciting because they're making the sort of anime manga connection accessible to their readers when they don't realize that they have a white guy on staff who's playing around with the tropes of those things, not necessarily presenting an authentic viewpoint.
Or a lot of people at Marvel are just saying, these stupid guys won't notice the difference. No one's going to notice how we have stupid readers. They're not going to realize how fake Wolverine Soultaker feels. And that brings us to our first comic today, Wolverine Soultaker. This is written by Akira Yoshida with pencils by Shin Nagasawa. Guru EFX does the colors on this one. So Wolverine Soultaker.
Wolverine Soultaker.
Wolverine Soultaker. Adam.
Hey. Hey, remember Wolverine Snicked and how fun that was?
Like a good comic that was deeply a Japanese comic, but wasn't a tropey, like it wasn't what a junior high kid would come up with for his Japanese comic, because this is a comic where Wolverine, the gaijin, by the way, so important. He is a dirty gaijin, a filthy gaijin dog.
I just want to know,
because that's what's relatable to Akira Yoshida, by the way, the filthy gaijin dog. I wonder why, but continue.
It's so funny to me how many moments in Wolverine Soultaker are like these little things where it's like somebody says a vocab word and then they explain what it is and why it's so important, you know?
Can I tell you why that makes me so mad? Can I tell you why that makes me so mad when I read it? Because I noticed every single time. Like it, especially that first issue, beats you over the head with "This is Japan."
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how much it's come up on this podcast, just because we don't talk about it a lot. I'm a big Asagi Yojimbo fan.
Yeah.
Like, I love that Samurai Rabbit. I think he's fantastic. Stan Sakai, a Japanese American.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Stan Sakai, raised in the US, like, but takes a huge amount of time in that comic to, like, say, hey, if this is different from what Western readers are going to be used to, I want to explain it and explain why it's important and treat it with a good amount of, like, information and respect. Like, I think there is an issue, and it's a pretty famous issue, the tea ceremony issue of Usagi Yojimbo, that is both about the Japanese tea ceremony and, like, the history of it and why it's important in culture, and also a deeply personal story about two characters, which is told only through the ceremony, which I think is walking a really interesting line. It's the same thing you see in, like, Peach Momoko's work. Peach, who, let's cards on the table, is only at Marvel because CB Spolsky brought her over. Like, that's why.
Yeah. Hugely talented.
But again, doing, like, no, this is what Japanese life is like, and not hiding away from that, but also not throwing a big spotlight and, like, oh yes, you like this sushi. Would you like your sake cold or hot? Like, it's very
much, I went on vacation and came back and now I'm an expert and can't stop talking about it.
It's like,
that's what it feels like.
And again, Chris Claremont did this. I'm not going to say Chris Claremont didn't do exactly this. Chris Claremont, Frank Miller, love this stuff. Like,
sure.
However, that was pre-internet. Like, that was there was a certain amount of, there's only so much you can know. It's actually the entire half of the world away. The world is much smaller and much closer, even in 2005. Like, and there is a level of, like, Claremont and Miller specifically are so far removed from reality that you know that that's not what they're going for. It never even tries to feel authentic, where this tries to feel authentic, but it also feels off and wrong. And even if you didn't know the backstory of Akira Yoshida, you would say, something about this feels weird. I don't know what it is. Maybe this guy's just struggling to write to an English audience. But generally, it just feels really annoying. That's scene 1 of the book, by the way. Folks, we're going to be here a bit.
Well, we haven't even described the plot of this. Wolverine is traveling back to Japan because he wants to visit the daughter that he adopted. What is this kid's
Amiko.
name?
His daughter.
Amiko. Yes.
Which, I mean, he adopts her and then immediately says, "Hey, Mariko, you want to have a kid?"
Yeah. It's not. It's one of the other like abandoned Wolverine children, of which there are dozens.
They've done some stuff with Amiko that I like, but yeah,
Not this. She's
not
not
this.
really in this story.
Yeah, that's the other.
Yukio has this weird necklace.
Yuriko, or no, wait,
No, it's Yukio.
yes, it's Yukio. It's not Yukiko,
No.
which is apparently actually her name, and Wolverine makes fun of her for it because she dropped the second K to sound more masculine, which again is line for line what is said in the comic and is another look, don't I know Japanese?
Yes, it definitely feels that way, right? Like I understand how the language works, and I'm going to tell you about it. This cursed necklace belongs to a sleeping girl named Hana, who has a twin sister named Mana, who's being
Mana. I mean,
controlled.
look, I don't know how it's supposed to be pronounced. Mana, like the magic in Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it's
Which I'm sure is just coming from like a Japanese word for magic or something like that.
sure.
I don't actually know. Don't quote me on it. But like, come on.
Well, Mana or Mana is being controlled by a demon named Ryuki and has the power to raise zombie samurais from the dead to attack Wolverine, who needs to dress up in traditional Japanese garb and have his claws blessed so that he can go and defeat the demon lady person thing. And Shin Nagasawa is our artist here. Shin is, did we mention the Pokemon connection? I don't
No, we
think
did that offline. I had not seen a lot of work from Shin Nagasawa after this, and I was like, I wonder what Shin Nagasawa is up to. Shin Nagasawa draws Pokemon cards, and it seems like is doing a very good job with it.
Yeah,
I'm looking at these Pokemon cards. I'm looking at. I'm like, that's a Pokemon. That is on model. That's a Pokemon right there. That's a Swampert. Look at this. Look at this 4-card Greninja, Adam. Did you see this? You have to get 4 Pokemon cards and make it into one big Greninja.
That's pretty fun. I
think it's Greninja V Unison, in case anyone is curious.
That does sound much more fun than what Shin is doing here. This is
this
very
Typhlosion.
much...
This Typhlosion, you can't see.
I don't know what you're looking at, but I believe
it's the Hisuian Typhlosion V card. I don't play Pokemon cards, but my son is in a Pokemon club. He's 6 and does not know how to play Pokemon. I have tried to explain it to him multiple times.
He just likes Shin's artwork, you know. He's like,
he probably does have the Shin Nagasawa. I'm looking at his Pokemon cards right now. They're pretty good.
So Shin is the artist is fine. It's just very much in like the style of an anime cartoon.
Well, what's weird is that it's Wolverine's fairly on model, and then Hana is an anime girl.
Yeah. Yukio, all the female characters here are very much like they look like they're anime girls.
They have the eyes. And the eyes, when no one else is drawn with the eyes, it's weird when a character is drawn with the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've got a stack of manga right over here, Adam. I'm reading, what am I reading? Blue Giant? I don't know if you ever read Blue Giant.
This
it's
is
a jazz manga
one you were telling me about. Yeah.
Hey, bud.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hey,
Blue Giant rips. Blue Giant is so good. I'm also reading, I got the latest 2 Tonkabon of Fool's Night, which I like. Anyway, so like, I'm not against anime or manga influenced art style, but it is jarring in this comic.
It is, just because you're especially knowing the context of who's writing it, it adds an extra dimension of it. Like, and the story itself is just so bland and by the numbers.
It's
It really feels like, hey, I
first
watched an
idea
anime
for a
once.
Japanese world. It really
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
There's a magic. Would you believe there's multiple magic swords?
There are two. There are two. I do have questions about the hygiene of the blood sword that gets used in this story, which is a sword encased in a wooden box that is somehow filled with blood, and the sword is soaking in the blood of the ancestors for centuries until Wolverine takes it out.
That sounds like a parody. Like, I
Yeah,
know you're describing what happens in the comic. That does sound like a parody.
yeah. And the way to defeat the evil Ryuki is with gold. So what does Wolverine have? Surprise! At the end, he has gold claws. So problem
It's a weird.
solved. Everybody has a nice Daughter's Day, which is a Japanese holiday.
Yeah, Girls' Day. It's a fun little thing. Amiko asks why she is the only one in a kimono. Because she's like, why? Everyone else gets to wear regular, which is honestly, the most realistic thing. Like, that was the one thing that felt like an authentic. Like, I bet that's a conversation he had with somebody,
Probably.
and like that feels like a real. Why do I have to get dressed up for church? No one else is getting dressed up.
Sure.
Like, I've had that conversation. I get it.
Well, I mean, we were picking on Claremont before, but like, when he pairs up with Jim Lee and they're doing some like things with Jubilee and her Chinese American heritage, there is a bit of authenticity to some of that given who he's collaborating with, right? Even though it's still very much, I would say fetishizing the Asian experience and the Asian characters.
There's a
This
bit of that.
is
There's also, I would say, it's a very fine line to walk, and everyone's going to have different lines, but generally, cultural exchange is good, objectively. And I think you'll say this: ninjas and samurai and all of that Japanese stuff, quote unquote, is super cool. The reason why we like it is because it's cool. That's
sure.
dope. It's the dopest thing out there. Oh, there's guys who can do cool flips and throw stars at you and can assassinate you, and they got cool weapons. That's awesome. We all like it. And at the same time, guess what? Do you know why Godzilla exists? Godzilla exists because some guys in Japan was like, have you seen King Kong though? Guys, have you seen King Kong? It's dope. Do you know why samurai movies exist? Because they were like, oh man, have you seen those cowboy movies? And then a bunch of cowboy movies were like, have you seen those samurai movies? And then George Lucas was like, have you seen those samurai movies? I'm going to make a Star Wars. And then like the cultural exchange, whether it's food, whether it is traditions, whether it is art and media, I think it is a beautiful way to share what you have with other people. And like, you can take from other cultures and learn from them, but there is a level of like basic respect that also comes from it. And I'm not saying that everything is perfect. Like, I'm not saying that you're disrespecting the Italian Nonna if your friggin' pasta doesn't fit in the pot and you're tired after a long day and you crack it. Like, there's certain levels to all of this. I don't know where that line is. The line is well before pretending to be a Japanese person and taking all the credit for all of this stuff. Like, that's well past the line and we can all agree with it. Like,
I would agree.
There's multiple conversations to be had here while still being like, but that's messed up. That's a wild and frankly embarrassing thing to do, Akira. Are you serious? Dude.
I do think this one in particular, just really, given what he's doing, is offensive.
Wolverine Soultaker is offensive as a story because it's a bad story.
Right, like, but then you add that extra layer of its authorship on top of it, and it's just anyway. So, Zach, we have the difficult, thing ahead of us here. We got to rank.
Can I tell you before we rank? Can I tell you my favorite part of Wolverine Soultaker?
Sure. Yeah.
It's how on the credits page it says special thanks to CB Cebulski.
Oh my god!
Did you not know that? Did you not see that?
I must have skipped past that. I was breezing through this.
No. Special thanks to CB Cebulski.
Amazing. You know how many editors are on this book?
2. Niccolo and wait, who?
Sean
Oh,
Ryan, John Barber, and Mike Martz are
well,
all.
Mike Martz was the group editor on this. I think Sean Ryan and John Barber just were the associates that got or not that. I think they were the assistant editors that got like switched around in the project. But yeah,
I also want to note with interest that if you do search for Wolverine Soultaker on Marvel Unlimited, no credits.
are you serious?
The book itself will still say Akira Yoshida,
Yeah.
but usually a Marvel Unlimited book will list who the creative team is underneath it. Not
Look,
this
all
one.
I'll say. Sometimes things are conspiracies. Sometimes Marvel Unlimited has really, really bad data management. Like
This
just
sounds
generally.
this seems pretty purposeful.
I hear ya. And if Marvel Unlimited was a better app, I would be on your side, buddy, and you know it. It's just like that application has let me down so many times. You mentioned earlier though about I'm sorry, about a big old list. I believe that came up in passing.
Yeah, big list.
So here's the thing about our big old list. We're ranking every X-Men story that's ever existed, including these from best to worst, where you have ranked 1,077 comics already. The best one's House of X Powers of 10. Have to say it. Editor-in-chief on that book, C.B. Cebulski. He didn't understand it, but that's fine. Number 250 is that Morph issue of Bendis Uncanny. Number 500 is Savage Avengers, The City of Sickles. Number 750 is Dazzler 38. That's when she fights the X-Men. Number 1000 is X-Man Messiah Complex. That's singular. And number 1077 is 2099 World of Tomorrow. So, Adam.
Hi.
Where is Age of Apocalypse?
Which Age of Apocalypse?
The one
his
Akira wrote. Yeah.
Well, keep in mind that Chris Picciolo did the art for that, and
Yes, and it's still at 624.
yeah, no. This one's going at the bottom. I think this one's pretty bad. This is a thousands story.
Okay, we're all in agreement that it is worse than X-Man Messiah Complex. The time that Nate Gray does get thrown on stage in a band, and he's wearing the greatest outfit of all time and starts a cult.
It's very bad. I think it's worse than the Shatterstar saga at 1014.
I mean, look, you're not wrong. This is worse than X-Men Gold 1-3.
Yeah, it is.
Is this better or worse than the Sisterhood arc?
Listen, Sisterhood does have that really objectionable Madeline Cyclops thing that I don't love, and that terrible Greg Land art, but I do think this is worse. When we get down to this part of the list, we're really starting to talk about stuff that is just downright either creatively bankrupt, terrible, or even offensive. And I gotta say, I think this is bad. Like, this is, I just keep working my way down the list.
Okay, so at 10:55 we have Logan Dies. That is the comic where Logan has
to fight the Angel of Death. That's better than this.
I mean, it kind of is, because that one's just funny. Wolverine has too many girlfriends fridged. It's so sad that he can't even fight the Angel of Death to bring him back to life. A thing we all know about Wolverine that he has to do. This is worse than Witchblade Wolverine at 1060.
I would agree. Is it worse than Rob Liefeld's X-Force Volume 2, The Legend Returns?
Probably not. It's probably between... Here's what I would say. I think that NYX at 1063, a book I dislike,
yes,
is better than this comic because NYX is ambitious. And NYX swings really hard, misses, and then tosses the bat into the crowd. Yeah. But it gives it a shot. And this comic is doing the bare minimum. This is, you know what? No, this is not better than the Romulus stuff, Wolverine Evolution, because that has art I like. I would say put this below Wolverine Evolution, above X-Force Volume 2.
All right. So at 1065, we have Wolverine Soultaker by Akira Yoshida.
I would say
Where,
that's the most important Akira Yoshida comic to read.
if you want to get a full sense
If
of
you
just how down the rabbit hole he went, that's
if
the
you
one to
want
look at.
if you want the most Akira Yoshida, it is that one. I have not, to be
Yes.
fair, I have not read the Elektra the Hand comic. So
No,
it's
but that's not an
possible.
X-Men comic.
No, but it's possible that that one is even more. But the other thing is that CB Sobalski is an X-Men nerd, specifically a 1980s X-Men nerd, which brings us to our second comic of the day. That is X-Men Kitty Pryde, Shadow and Flame. This is by Akira Yoshida, and son of a gun, if it isn't penciled by Paul Smith.
I believe penciled and inked by Paul Smith.
Paul Smith does this one, folks.
Yeah, I told the CXF crew on our Slack that we were talking about this story, and our good pal Stephanie Burt, Harvard poet, Taylor Swift academic, book coming out this fall, messaged me to say, man, it's a shame that Yoshida guy messed up all that pretty Paul Smith art.
And look, let's get that out of the way at Jump Street. Comic's pretty.
This
The
book
comic-
looks great.
The comic, it's Paul Smith didn't spend the last 20 years doing nothing. Paul Smith spent the last 20 years honing his craft.
Yeah.
And that is truly phenomenal to see, and makes me wish that we had more Paul Smith comics. Like,
Me
I'm not
too.
sure what Paul Smith was doing for a while.
Believe he was pursuing some independent work, actually.
Like, I have no, like, here's the thing. His Wikipedia just goes blank after that, after like the 80s, and it says, and then he came back to do some stuff a while back. So I don't know. Like, I don't know what Paul Smith was doing. Maybe he got a real job. Like, I do not have any idea what Paul Smith
Well,
was.
when did Leave It to Chance come out?
I don't
That
know.
came out, and yeah, so that's like late 90s. It's 96 to 99.
Yeah, but there's like a 10-year gap between.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he was doing some American Flag and a few other things, but still, like,
Yeah, underrated.
Paul's-
Like Paul's an amazing, probably my favorite quintessential X-Men artist. My favorite arc of X-Men ever is the Paul Smith era. So seeing him take 5 solid issues to do a pretty much a sequel to Kitty Pryde and Wolverine. But well, let me stick with the art for a second. So really has such a great handle on this character, gets to draw a lot of Lockheed. There's a lot of really great fight scenes, and really is bringing the same energy that we got from like the Wolverine Silver Samurai stuff back in his heyday. Like, it's really good. And to top that off, we didn't mention Christina Strain is doing the colors here.
yeah,
Looks-
on most of the issues, Strain is coloring it as well.
Book
and it
looks great. Book looks great. Story, kind of dumb.
I mean, here's the thing: Wolverine, Soultaker, Japan, like very Japan. X-Men Kitty Pryde, Shadow and Flame is Marvel Comics Japan,
Yes.
which I'm not making a value judgment on. As a white dude, that's not my place to make any value judgments on. I would say, like, what I would say is if it didn't say Akira Yoshida on it, no one would be like, yeah, but this is a comic in Japan, so is there problematic elements to it? It's like it's like the baseline level of Marvel Japan problematic.
Yeah. It's like hand
It's like-
ninjas and, all the normal stuff we've come to expect from the Yoshida clan. And
There's like a weird anime girl who's on screen for like 3 pages and then disappears inexplicably. Like,
Sure.
I don't understand, but it's very much this is the baseline thing. Like, I swear, if this just came out and listen, Claremont wrote this, we don't think about it. Heck, if Sobalski just puts his real ass name on here, we don't think about it.
Maybe we think about it a little bit more.
We think about it a little bit. Okay, we think about it a little bit.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
generally, it's just like, it's just weird that it's the one well he goes back to under this pseudonym.
Well, anyway, so the plot of this is relatively simple. Kitty and Lockheed are drawn to Japan because, and I do appreciate this deep cut, are drawn back by a photo of the green dragon that Lockheed fell in love with after the X-Men returned from Battle Wars in Secret Wars. In
Yep.
Battle World and Secret Wars.
Yep.
When they get there, they encounter some officials from something called the Japanese Department of Supernatural Sciences, and
Which is the part I got most annoyed with, because they're like, yeah, you know, X-Files, we're better than X-Files. That was their explanation. I was like, that's a bad... You can't just say... That's bad writing. You can't just say, you know, this thing you like, we're better than this thing you like. That's not good, right? Don't tell
they're
them.
not. They're not better.
I'm
than
not.
X-Files.
I'm not an X-Files guy. It's just I was too young.
Yeah, but I mean, they're just not. They don't do anything. They're mainly off page. The reason that they have been lured to Japan is because the Path of Destiny, which is the ninja clan that Ogun ran, believes that Kitty should be their new leader. She should be, taking his place. And then when she doesn't wanna, I guess they all try and kill her, and she has to defeat them all.
Yeah, there's a whole thing. It's like, well, actually, they'll take us seriously if we get this special honor sword, which is different because they have to. They do have to go get a sword from Clan Yoshida, which, again, Akira, you can't write a comic with Clan Yoshida in it. Like that's too much.
Keep in mind that the last story we just talked about also had 2 honor swords in it. This one now has another, because what Kitty does is
honor swords.
She fights Silver Samurai and
also
gets the
Ogun's
sword.
people. This Path of Destiny has their own special honor sword also.
Yeah,
but it's again, this is not the honor sword that Wolverine gets from Mariko. This is a more different special sword that Clan Yoshida also has.
I guess it's so weird that why would they have another one?
Because you need 10 swords. Listen, I'm a guy who loves having 10 swords. Don't get it twisted.
I just watched Bloodsport and I learned you have to win Kumite to get the katana. So it's a little bit weird that they have more than one. Usually the family just has anyway.
Well, you have your katana and then you have your short sword. Also, that's what Asagi Yojimbo has taught me. Yes. You have to have multiple swords, and then when you forget the name of the sword that's not the katana, you sit there and like, dang it, Stan Sakai, I read it 1,000,000 times. Please tell me what it is.
And where credit is due, I'll go back to Paul Smith here. When there's no dialogue and it's just beautiful pages of Paul Smith drawing these action scenes, this kind of rips. It's not bad. It's just the in between stuff is just so basic and boring. It doesn't really do much, and just the dialogue is flat. I don't know. There's just not a lot going on. Paul Smith deserves better than to have this stuff in here. Like, this would serve as an absolutely gorgeous silent comic for him, but I can't endorse the other part of it.
Can I tell you what's weird?
What's weird,
Zach? What's weird is that this feels like a comic that CB Cebulski would commission as editor-in-chief. Sure. It feels exactly like all of the nostalgia bullcrap comics we have gotten during his regime.
I mean, he's done it with Claremont. I mean, they just finished Madripoor Nights as a mini, so...
No, didn't they just finish another Wolverine and Kitty Pryde comic?
They did that too. Yeah.
I don't know. I can't keep track with that. Like,
there's a lot of that nostalgia bait stuff that just keeps coming out. But you're absolutely right. It's just, hearkening back to days of yore in multiple ways, but I don't know. It doesn't really add to the mythos or anything, because at the end of the day, it's just whatever.
So that's the bigger thing about this and Soultaker specifically that I was thinking about when I was reading these comics. They're comics about nothing. They are comics about doing a adventure with these characters.
Mhm.
This is not a comic about these are pieces of commerce. These are not pieces of art, which is deeply unfortunate when you have friggin' Paul Smith drawing it. Like, this is the equivalent of the books they have for children that are like, and here is Spider-Man going to save the day, except for worse than that, because those at least have a heavy-handed moral in them, and like, that's why you should look both ways before crossing the street. This doesn't even hit the same level of literary standard as a children's learn to read book. It's really frustrating. And there is a level of competence in the writing of this that I think is not found in Wolverine Soultaker. Like, this is better written story.
This is better.
Like, noticeably a better story.
Yeah.
It's also nothing.
Yeah.
And that's, I just said it with NYX. I love it when someone takes a swing. This is the safest bunt you could ever make. And that's so annoying that you got Paul Smith to do this.
Yeah, it is annoying. I will say that the Paul Smith art is elevating it in my mind a little bit.
Like a lot. It really
I'm down at 941 on the list and looking at Marvel Mangaverse X-Men.
Oh, we're heads and shoulders above Marvel Mangaverse X-Men. Yes. Adam, we are like, here's the thing. 692, and I just scrolled here. It just happened to be, but that's X-Men Colossus Bloodline and Heart of Hearts. We both know this is at least as good, if not better, than X-Men Colossus Bloodlines.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Adam, you're not thinking of X-Men Colossus Bloodlines all that much right now. Like,
Colossus Bloodlines is very bad.
They're the same comic.
They're very similar. I'm just looking at all the stuff that's below that.
Shattershot, but like Firestar Mini, we're in the right spot.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. Like,
but you don't want to because it's Akira Yoshida, and that feels weird.
It does, but also, like, I mean, the Paul Smith art is great, but the story is just kind of whatever. Like,
yeah, but
like
the ugly truth that you and I have discovered is most X-Men stories are whatever.
Yeah, but like, for whatever it's worth, it's 726, X-Men The End book 3.
Oh, you're not going to do this to me. You're not going to hoist me by my own petard, are you, Adam?
Tell me that doesn't have like at least more trying something than this.
There's nary a book that is trying harder than Stan Lee Presents X-Men The End book 3 Men and X-Men. Like, very few. If we're judging all books against trying hard, it's like House of X, Powers of 10, and then it's that one. Like, Claremont is trying exactly as hard.
We are in the right area. 735 is Wolverine Dangerous Games, written by Cy Spurrier. This is better than that.
This is better than Wolverine Dangerous Games. This is better than Curse of the Mutants. Here's what I'll say, Adam. I hear you, and I don't think you're wrong. I would say that this is, unfortunately, a better comic than the Muir Island Saga.
But it is not as good as Dazzler 27 and 28 Vendetta at 718. I
agree with that. I was actually, I had heard you when you called me out on X-Men The End. And I was like, I would say that it is not as good as X-Men The End, even though the art is much better. Mm-hmm. And I would go so far to say Ultimate Comics X-Men 1 to 12 is better than this, even if that is an incomplete and generally not successful story. I would put this right between at the new 728.
All right. Our new 728 is X-Men Kitty Pryde, Shadow, and Flame. And Zach, that story is from 2005. Our third story is from 2008, and wouldn't you know it, CB has lost the alternate personality here. We are back to being
Somehow.
CB Cebulski.
Adam, you know what CB Spolsky was doing in his sabbatical year from Marvel?
No, what was he doing?
Have you? I don't know if you actually read this comic or you just let us do it. Adam, did you read Wonderlust?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait. Wait a
Hold
minute.
on
What?
a sec.
Yeah.
You're telling me that Wonderlust comes out in between all of this and not before it?
Yeah, like Wonderlust. Wonderlust pretty much comes out after the Akira Yoshida stuff has gotten him to take a sabbatical from Marvel for a year. But it was
Guys, we're
very
not going to
clearly-
get into Wonderlust.
Here's what,
but-
no, we are. Here's what we're not going to get too deep into Wonderlust because we can't. But we could do a story by story recap podcast of CB Cebulski and honestly, an insanely talented number of artists.
An insanely
Comic
talented
Wonderlust.
number of artists doing one of, hands down, the most embarrassing comic books, 2 issues of a comic book I have ever seen put out into the world.
It's possible the Akira Yoshida thing is the second worst thing that Cebulski's ever done after Wonderlust. Wonderlust is CB Cebulski telling the plucky tale of all of his sexcapades as a young man. It is CB Cebulski spending 2 issues being like, look at me, that's what the comic is.
Deeply confessional in ways that feel like a 16, 17-year-old kid decided to write it, and yet illustrated by top talent. It's really bad.
Does it have a comic in there that talks about it? Yes, it does. It's
Hey.
just
I'm shocked that it came at that point, because I assumed when I read that it had come like from the early 2000s, not
Oh,
the
no,
late
but-
2000s.
but
That's
no.
crazy to me.
No. That's the I am out of my job due to mutual differences for a bit. I've got to do something for some money for a little bit. And he goes to Image and he makes that comic. Folks, if you've never found CB Cebulski's sex comic, truly, I wish I had a copy of it on that street corner to have him sign, or that I wasn't so stunned by the weird occurrence in my life that I could ask him, hey, Chessie B, what was going on with Wonderlust? What was Wonderlust about? Like, tell me what you were thinking when you dedicated months, if not years of your life to making that comic. I have so many questions about Wonderlust.
I don't want to ever even mention it. So
Too bad it's in the episode. We had to discuss it. We had to make sure. When else are we going to have a chance to do it, Adam?
It's true.
When else are we going
It's
to talk
true.
about Wonderlust?
well, and hey,
Folks don't know about Wonderlust. That's the
No.
thing. No one
No.
thinks about that. It's wild.
and that's a good thing. But our third story is Astonishing Tales, Wolverine Punisher. This is CB Cebulski writing, pencils and inks, very clearly advertised as Top Cow Productions, Kenneth Roquefort. I thought that was interesting. And this is
Yeah.
a Marvel Digital Comics exclusive where Wolverine and Punisher are fighting a Predator X and some ladies that very much look like they came out of a Top Cow book.
I will say, I do not agree with Kenneth Roquefort's politics or all of his covers. I have liked plenty of his work in the past. Like, legit, he's done some stuff that I liked. This is not necessarily one of them, though. This is very much a I am working for Top Cow type comic.
Yes, the boobs are very spherical and shiny.
There's
Let's
a
just say
part. There's
that.
a part where Punisher shoots someone right in the boobs, and you know this because the panel is 2 mounds and a gun. And that's
Mhm.
the whole panel. Truly, truly an incredible thing. Also, here's the thing about Predator X. I remember when Predator X was first created, it was like a dinosaur thing, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Why does Predator X in this look like it's a dude, like a big monster dude who would be on those weird romance books that are like oddly prevalent about monster banging? He looks like a jacked monster man with like
It. I don't
a monster
also.
member.
I also don't quite remember the origin of Predator X, but I don't
It's from
remember
the
them. No, I remember he was in the Saya complex, but I don't remember Predator X having been designed by this particular character and being sold to the highest bidder. So we have a character named Kimura who is selling this to Viper in Madripoor. Tiger is also here doing Akira slides on her motorcycle.
By the way, just to be clear, Adam, you're just not remembering that story. It's called Mercury Rising or Mercury Falling or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Mercury
Okay.
Falling from New X-Men. But yes, like that's all that all makes sense.
That's
to me. Keep
squares.
going.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, Wolverine, Punisher, they kill Predator X's, and there's Top Cow ladies, and that's about it.
Tiger is in it. This is a story set in Madripoor, which again, I feel like Sobalski had to be like, well, it would be too on the nose if I did another Japanese story. So where can I go? What can I do?
Let's go to
What can I do?
other fake Vietnam, I guess.
I mean, it's fake Singapore. It's
Oh, okay.
Madripoor.
Okay.
That's what it is. It's got the high town, low town whole thing. You know about I'm not explaining Madripoor to you. You know Madripoor.
I know about Madripoor.
It was in the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show. You remember Madripoor?
Where everyone remembers Madripoor fun.
Where
Oh my
everyone
God.
remembers Madripoor from. Yes, thank you. We all know about Madripoor. Anyway, it does have Tiger doing an Akira slide.
Yep.
Which is not her sliding on CB Sobalski. It is her doing the Akira slide, and she's dressed like she's the. It's not an Akira slide so much as it is a weirdly laid out shot that was definitely written to be an Akira slide, and I don't know if Kenneth Rocafort knew what that meant, so he kind of just drew the bike from Akira and drew Tiger in Akira clothes.
Yeah. That's pretty much what it is. Wild choice, though, for someone who just finished pretending to be someone named Akira.
Honestly, funniest thing in the world. I saw that. I hooted and hollered because, like, I'm sorry. What are you gonna do? What are any of us going to do but laugh about it? Am I going to start a boycott of Marvel Comics? No, the quality of their books has already done that for me.
So there's nothing really happening here. It's over in 6 quick installments, and then it's over.
Yeah.
There's like the threat of a sequel, because they're gonna make some more Predator X's, but like,
Well, yeah, that never happens. It turns out Predator X doesn't take off as a going concern. Like all of these Astonishing Tales comics were part of that. They were doing an online comic thing, and then they collected them. Sobalski does one. There's a Iron Man 2020 comic. There is who else is in there? There's oh my, I did not know this. I need to find this. There is a Sabra comic in there.
oh no,
Sabra solo story. With man, I got a lot of questions about this Sabra Solar story where she fights Hydra, and then there is that Jonathan Hickman Mojo World story, which
there's
rules.
a Boom Boom and Elsa Bloodstone comic from this era too.
Yeah. Is it an Astonishing Tales or is it an I Heart Marvel?
It's Astonishing Tales, Boom Boom and Elsa.
I have read
Rick
it.
Spears and penciled by James Callahan.
I've read it. It's not what you want it to be.
Oh, I'm sure. Anyway,
like you want it to be better than it is. It's not.
Yeah. So, I mean, this isn't as bad as Soultaker, and it's not as good as Shadow and Flame. It's just kind of a nothing story.
Like, there's been very few stories that were more nothing than this, which is fine. I mean, it's upholding the long-standing Marvel tradition of let's try and do something with digital, but then also let's not put anything
Yeah, I would
into
say
it.
that the other Top Cow thing that we definitely have on, well, we mentioned Witchblade and Wolverine.
This is not as bad as Witchblade
Not
Wolverine.
as bad as that, but it's not as good as Cyberforce X-Men at 8:30.
It's not as good as Cyberforce X-Men. Let's see. That's at 8:30. I don't know. This is kind of
It's just meh. Hey, where do we have that weird Ultimate Wolverine versus Hulk thing? You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, that's all
Why
the way
is
up at 564?
why is that your comparison point?
I don't know. If, like, that has
It's a
that Leinil
Wolverine team up.
Francis Yu, and like Rocafort is definitely in the same ballpark as what Yu does with his artwork.
Yeah,
That's way
it's
too high. Oh my god. Okay.
I don't know. Remember, we kind of enjoyed it, even though it was
Yeah,
we were
yeah.
we were along for the ride on that one. Like
Yes.
that's the same reason why Old Man Logan fares well on this list, because say what you want about it, we're along for the ride on it. Like, I get it. I get the criticisms of it, and I'm like, yeah, but hop on in. We're doing wheelies in the parking lot. This is not as good as 882. Wolverine Goes to Hell, the comic where Wolverine goes to hell.
You're saying that's worse than this?
No, I'm saying Wolverine Goes to Hell is better than this.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'd rather read X-Force Youngblood at 940.
Really interesting.
Well, is that the first issue or the second issue?
Who can tell?
Well, the first
Adam,
one's
do you
not
even
as bad
remember
as
the
second one.
difference? Yeah.
Well,
But,
there's a distinct difference.
okay,
Hold
but
on.
tell me, it's
Oh, that is the worst one. Okay, this is better than that. This is
okay.
better than that.
I was going to say, this is also actually no. This is better than Marvel Digital Holiday Special #1 if Fates Allow,
Mhm.
which I believe is the one where Wither is hanging out with Emma and Cyclops.
Yeah, but it's not as good
Um,
as Iron Man Annual 8.
it's not. I was gonna say it's not as good as Marvel Comics Presents Vigil, the story about Wolverine's French daughter with the magic claws that are crystals. Hey, did we mention in the last episode that a 9/11 happens in that comic too?
Oh yeah. Oh no, we did not mention that. Holy crap. Jesus.
Okay, we're done with the episode.
Wait. Hold on. I just need to tell you something that I learned this week, and I want readers to look this up, because Iron Man Annual 8 had that character that was like Michigan
Yeah, the
J
weird.
Frog.
Yeah. We all
Okay.
know him.
Did you know we learned this week in my home that Michigan J Frog is actually based on a real story of a horny toad that was buried inside of a building, and when they excavated it, like, came back to life. I want everybody listening right now to look up Ol Rip the Horny Toad from Texas. This is a really insane story. You need to learn about this. It's
God
absolutely
bless
insane.
America. Oh, that rules. That rules. That
Yeah.
rules. CB Sobalski comics don't rule. Weird that they
No.
gave him so much work.
Kind of surprised that he did so well this week, honestly. That wasn't terrible showing.
Look, end of the day, you work in comics long enough, you know how to put out a perfectly decent comic. Scott Lobdell, for his many flaws, can consistently put out C+ work.
Sure.
Like, and here's the thing, it's X-Men comics. We're grading on a weird scale where the good stuff's really good, and then there is a lot of mediocre stuff, and then there's a lot of bad stuff. And when you have to explain to your 9-year-old son's girlfriend's dad that you have an X-Men podcast because he mentioned it, you have to be like, yeah, but you don't understand. So many of these comics are bad, and don't treat me differently because of this, Darren.
Well, folks, if you'd like us to talk about different comics that aren't written by the editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics, what should they do, Zach?
Oh, we forgot about this. You can go over to patreon.com/BattleTheAtom, reach deep down into your hearts and pocketbooks, toss up a couple of coins into our coffers. The request list is, I'll be honest, frankly, a little lighter than we'd like. We know these are trying times. So if you want to support us, that's great. If not, I mean, look, I feel like the last few weeks have proven that me and Adam can come up with creative ideas all by ourselves. And if that's content you would like, that's fine. If you would like other people to want to listen to this podcast, maybe suggest some stuff that isn't, I would say, actively repelling a large portion of the audience.
Or attracting. You never know. You never know.
You never know. I feel like if podcasts could do numbers these days, this one is one that could reach a wild audience.
Sure.
And I hope if anyone at Marvel is listening right now, you're just getting a chuckle and have your headphones in.
Folks can always follow me on Instagram and Blue Sky at Adam Rec. Austin and I are still covering Uncanny, though I guess we get a break because of the Age of Revelation. And Zach, what are we doing next week?
We're going to do important comics, but comics that a child would think important. But until then, folks, this is Battle of the Atom. We hope you survive the experience.
Get it!